tired. I'm tired today. I've been doing this a fair amount. Getting ready to go out. Granola bar for today. 2 granola bars, I think. Because I don't really have anything else for breakfast. Plan for today is pretty simple. In the last video, the editor made a mention about the photos and that there was something that needed to be corrected, and there was, yes. Little mistake on my part. When I was setting up the new camera, for some reason I didn't think about, for some reason I went back to using the Canon cameras that are more than 10 years old. And so when I was setting up, or when I was doing all the settings and the custom settings, I was setting my ISO range, and I topped it out at 8,000 because I was like, that's plenty. And especially, I'm thinking about it from the Canon cameras, an 8,000 ISO would have been completely unusable, basically. It would have been just so high. I never tried to shoot above. I think 3,200 was even really pushing it. Here's the thing, cameras have advanced in the last 10 plus years. 8,000 ISO on a Sony camera is still usable. It may need a little bit of processing at the end and a little bit of noise reduction to clean it up in a way that I'm happy about, so it's not entirely grain, but still usable. And all the photos were coming out dark. And I didn't notice it the first trip out, or the second. How many times have I been out with the new camera now? But this last time, most definitely, there were more photos, and some of them were very dark. I'm thinking especially of the bird in the nest, because as far as I could tell, that bird, which we think is the Tennessee warbler, was so dark you couldn't even see the white around its eye, even as much processing as I did to lift it up. It just wasn't there in the shade. And that should be, if that's the same bird, which I think it is, we're going to go back and see, it should be noticeable. So, expanded that ISO range, did some more research, see what other people think about it, see what other people use for that stuff. Again, looking up, more specifically, wildlife photography with this camera to see what others do with the Sony things. And yes, we've expanded the ISO range. My goal for today is to just get one good photo. I have yet to really be, I've been amazed by the new camera, don't get me wrong, it is like my old one, but a huge step up for the Sony, but I just haven't yet nailed any one particular photo to the point where it's like, wow, yes. And that's what I'm hoping for today. It should be sunny, so we got plenty of sunlight. We got all the stuff. We're getting out there bright and early. We should get that golden hour. I don't plan to be out long because it is now July 1st and we are into moving time. So I've got things to get done today for sure. Got to start getting everything packed up and everything. So unfortunately, over the next month, I'll be less out there and more in here, but my goal for today, one singular sensation. One still photo that I'm happy with. Just one photo of a bird. I had a few opportunities. Some of that's the tough thing, isn't it? It's not always on me. It's not always up to me. But I did have some opportunities over the last 2-3 weekends that I went out. And especially last weekend, there was a robin that landed right in front of me. And it was in the shade, and I took the pictures, and it came out dark. And another thing I forgot about, one of the recommended practices, overexpose, because you can capture more detail in the light than you do in the dark, and then you bring it back down. And I was definitely not overexposing by a stop or two. We're going to try that. We're going to try just one stop today, because I typically just wind up going right in the middle, but dead center of the meter. It's so early. That's the plan. I think I've explained everything now. I have to go. It's very early. Hopefully I'll be more awake by the time I go get in the car. The nice brisk cold and the fact that it's got a defrost. I already looked out the window and saw that there's ice all over the car, so that'll help. Let's go.
I did it again. I looked at the weather, checked the forecast, where I lived, didn't think about it, didn't check where I was going. It said sun all day, full sun, no clouds, which is not true as I left, but then there's just fog and fog and fog that I drove through, real thick. We get here, full clouds, full fog. Forecast says it's going to be like this for about 4 hours. Maybe it won't be. But still, I didn't even think. And if I'd seen this kind of stuff, I probably would have stayed home because there's a lot of stuff I got to get done. Well, I might nap. Tired. And then we'll get out and see, and maybe the sun will have come out and dried up a little bit of the fog. Well, it's about an hour. It is no different with the fog. I was hoping the forecast wouldn't be accurate and it might clear up a little bit, but it doesn't seem to be that way. So, I am going to go quickly take a look around because I'm curious. See where the water's at. See if it's still as flooded as it was last week. I did find out last week one of the reasons the Colorado River is so full and overflowing is because they are letting out some of the lakes further up near Rocky Mountain National Park. Didn't know that. Found that out from the guy who I talked to about them cutting down the trees and such. But anyway, I'm going to go take a couple minutes, walk around. I was only really going to be out here for 3 hours at the absolute most because I got stuff I want to get done this weekend as we are now into moving. But, yeah, go take a look around, then maybe drive somewhere else, see if it's cleared up. It was like patches of heavy fog, and then it'd be clear, and then more fog. So if there's a spot that's clear, I don't know if it was clear over by the wildlife watching area, but I'll go there. That's something. It's wet out there. That is a rushing Colorado River, but not as flooded as last week. Not at all, actually, which is good. It's very interesting to see it from week to week. So when I come back next week, maybe we might get some sun and actually be good weather for taking pictures, because it's just not. I've been doing this long enough to know that this would just be not a waste of time, but it would not be productive if the goal is to get pictures. There's just no sunlight, full fog, full mist, full clouds, and not looking like it's going to clear up anytime soon. So, given that, I'm going to drive to another place, or maybe not. I'm going to start driving and see if I can find anything. I'll stop off by the wildlife watching area out over the lakes and take a look and see what's there. Maybe I'll just grab the binoculars and do some actual watching. But anyway. Yeah. Nope. No sun here, but still. Looking out on the water. There's some birds. We'll just do a nice slow pan of what I'm looking at. Yeah, it's not going to happen today. Not with the time that I've got and what I want to achieve with the morning photos. Because the sun is not going to happen. It's so cloudy. As I'm driving along and I turn, there's something just perfectly round, bright round in the sky, and I'm going, oh, is that the moon? No, that's the sun. That I can just easily look at without having to wince or anything because of how thick the clouds are, how thick the fog is. Anyway, yeah, I got some other stuff I got to do today, unfortunately. I have a ton of editing that I have to get done over the next few weeks, at the very least, but I'd like to try to get it all done this weekend. I'm still editing stuff from last week of the wildlife outing, and then over last weekend as well, I shot 6 more Capitalism Ho videos, which I need to get edited so that they can start coming out. And that will give me my necessary backlog in order to cover the gap while I am moving, because the next few weekends will be moving mostly. I think I've got it pretty well planned out of get this stuff done, then I can do this one, then I focus on this stuff. This weekend especially, I want to try to get some stuff cleaned. The car is one of them. It's very dirty. I have not cleaned it in quite a while. Whoops. Foot slipped that I'm balancing on. The car has not been cleaned in quite a while. It's pretty dirty from going out, doing what it is I'm doing, and then, not being able to clean it properly. But one of the things that's part of our moving budget to get everything cleaned, because we are going to have to clean the apartment from top to bottom, and it's not too bad. There's one spot that I'm a little worried about on the carpet where there was a stain from a certain cat that had a hairball and then didn't notice it for a while. Didn't come and let us know, which is obviously her responsibility if she has a hairball, to then immediately come and get our attention and bring it to the hairball so that we can... So there's a little stain on the carpet. And because we have a cat and also are just humans, things get dirty and need to be cleaned. The point of all of that is that we went ahead with our moving budget as part of that, bought some cleaning equipment, one of them being a wet vac, which I'm pretty excited. I've tested it out. We had a hairball this week and cleaned up the leftovers, no problem. There's no stain or anything. Anyway, a little mini shop vac so I can actually clean the cars, because otherwise the only other vacuum I have to really get in there is like a household vacuum, push carpet vacuum, and it doesn't, like, it's got the hose attachment, but it doesn't. I've used other ones, and this one, as it turns out, does not have any way to shut off the brush on the bottom going the entire time. So even if you do bring it out to the car, like I've done before, and you use the hose to get all the little corners and things like that, the brush is still just sitting there spinning and just going and running, and I don't care for that because it's just wearing it down unnecessarily when it's not being used. Or it just sits there and it just sits on that one spot and it just goes forever. And it's not great. So, yeah, a little shop vac, the little wet vac, got some other cleaning products and things like that. I really want to get the whole car just top to bottom cleaned out on the inside before the move. And then when the significant other gets back, I'll clean her car as well. She's got a stain on the seat that I'm real worried about on the passenger seat from a coffee years and years ago at this point. But I looked up with some hot water to loosen the fibers in the seat, and then some cleaning products and some scrubbing, and then the wet vac. I think that's going to do it. We'll find out. I'm very interested to see how it'll do. But that's what I've got to do today, and that's why I figured, well, I can get out for a couple hours and then come back because I can't go out and start using a shop vac and a wet vac and loud things like that at 6 a.m. when I'm up and ready to start going and doing stuff. That's rude. Not going to happen. Got to wait until at least, I think, 8 is the cutoff for the beginning and cutoff at the end of the days for noise, things like that. But I'll probably wait a little later than that anyway. I got some other stuff to do, and then I'll get some stuff packed. So this weekend we'll be editing, packing, cleaning, and maybe next weekend. We'll see. If I can get stuff done, maybe Monday if the weather's better, I'll come back out, but I'm not making any promises because we are getting into the crunch time of trying to avoid the crunch of moving by slowly and steadily packing up little by little, going, all right, don't need this for over. Look at everything and go, all right, do I need this over the next month? Am I going to need the chargers for my camera batteries? Yes. Am I going to need the chargers for other batteries? No. Start packing that stuff up. I did last weekend. I talked about how I recorded all of those videos. I got everything set up, and then I got everything packed up, and it's all packed away because I'm not going to need it over the next month until after the move. So slowly, little by little, if I do that one room at a time and start packing up all the unnecessary stuff, then it makes it easier when we finally get to it and I go, okay, clock out of work. Now I can pack away all the computer stuff because it doesn't do me much good to pack it away beforehand if I need it to be working. Anyway, that'll be today. No luck today. Unfortunately, it just didn't happen today. It's no sun, all fogs. Oops, all fog. Happens. Maybe later this weekend, maybe next weekend. We shall see. I did get to watch some Magpies. That was interesting. While I was while I was napping at the other place. Right there along the fence, there was a large group of magpies that were making all kinds of noise and just hopping around on the fence and doing something like that. I turned this one on and zoomed it as far as I could. I don't know if anything will be interesting or come out of that, but so be it. I tried. All the other camera stuff is all the way in the back, and as I know, shooting through windshields does not equal a good picture quality. Anyway, now that's it. Just left the fog behind as we drive. Just full sun now. Don't you love microclimates in the mountains, the Rocky Mountains, as you go up and down in the different elevations and get to different climates entirely? Isn't it great? And then there's this. Isn't it lovely?